Okay, all right, 6:11, sorry about the technical difficulties, just not able to get online, but we'll record this meeting and just close it that way. We can call the meeting to order, please. Roll call.
Councilmember Tobin.
Here.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Here.
Councilmember Turner.
Here.
Councilmember Lane.
Here.
Councilmember Conlon.
Here.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Here.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Present.
Councilmember Michaels.
Here. You can all rise, let's get to the flag.
Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Public comments, Donald Chu.
Thank you very much for the in-depth and very candid discussion last meeting about the new $8 million bond. Yeah, I learned a lot that I didn't know. And one comment that Finance Director Shager made that stuck with me is that extra I understand now that the work for the DRI was originally kind of not known to be as complicated as it was, and very understandably it was finished. Once you got into it, you're not going to leave it half done, so it was finished. But yeah, as saying, Mr. Shager commented, it probably should have been approved by the council, the extra spending. And so that made me wonder, was it not detected or realized that we were going over costs? Or if we knew it and nobody thought to bring it to the council? And then if either of those is the case, what we would do or what procedure we might change to avoid it in the future. Thank you.
Baxter.
Name's Mike Dexter. I've lived in the city my entire life. My most recent position has been on the landscape, trying to get this right, but what I've seen lately, the landscape planning and design, either commission, board, or committee. A little bit of my history is I got on the Landscape and Design Commission almost 25 years ago because of some of the cleaning and trimming that national time it was not Mohawk. Today it's National Grid. We had some big concerns about what they wanted to do. They did some pruning on my street, which was totally not acceptable. Church Street out here was going to be completely cut down and started over again. We were able to, through some persistence of talking to Niagara Mohawk, I personally delivered a delivered letter to Mr. Edwards at Niagara Mohawk at the time, asking him why the trees had to be removed. He kept saying there were power outages. We kept asking how many power outages were there. They didn't tell us. We finally found out that there were no power outages, but they just wanted to prune the trees, or not prune them, they wanted to cut them down. So since then, we've been very honed in on work that Niagara Mohawk has done in the city, now National Grid. It started when they came into the city, and I guess that's the reason I got on the Landscape and Design Commission, unofficially the Tree Commission. And it looks like I'm right back to where I was in square one 25 years ago, because it was brought to my attention. Obviously, I saw it first. Trees on Central Ave from numbers 130 through number 156, 58 were totally removed except for one tree in front of number 134. I talked to the person that requested the trees 10 years ago. He said he got a letter from the DPW. It was his understanding that the DPW took the tree down. I found out yesterday from Mike at the DPW that National Grid actually took the trees down, removed the stumps. The letter that was received by the homeowners was directed to the owner of 132, 134. No, this was addressed to 130 Central Ave. The city of Cortland is partnershiping with National Grid in removing the tree in front of your property per section 273-7, section A of the city's charter code. This work is being performed to ensure reliability of the power grid serving your property. All work will be performed at no cost whatsoever to the property owner. If you have any questions, call the DPW. It also said, please check the appropriate box of an authorization form if a replacement tree is desired. Having talked to Dan Williams, who lives at 132, 134, owns the property, he told me that the tree was in pretty good shape. Since then, I've been able to take pictures of the trees that were removed, in particular the trees at 134, 136. 134 was left. It's a hornbeam. It was planted in 2000 and I know that the one that's in question that was removed is in front of 136. It is a white shield Osage orange, which was planted in 2016. It's 10 years old. I've got pictures of it. I'm going to show you the pictures. And our big concern with pruning the trees, for the most part, was they were concerned about trees being in their primary lines, because this tree that was planted was accepted by National Grid to be planted in this space. We submit all the trees that were planted from year to year, and National Grid rebates us $50 for every tree that's planted under their wires that they find acceptable. Now, these are primary lines. I'm going to pass this around. You're going to see this tree, and you're going to see a lot of cables going through the tree. Nobody prunes those wires, okay? They're cable TV, they're cable, they could be anything other than the primary lines, which are on top. I can tell you that the telephone poles are probably 45 feet, because that's what I was told they need. I'm going to pass this around and show you the tree that was removed at 136. The tree at 134 was left because it's only in the lines that are underneath. The misunderstanding that a lot of people have is that when they see trees planted and they're going through cable TV, secondary, telephone lines, that's not a problem. Like I said, they don't prune those branches. What they prune those lines. What they prune is lines that are up on top, which are the primary lines, which carry the power up and down the street. The lines that you see on that picture at the lower are, like I said, telephone, cable TV. This tree in particular, if you're looking at it, could have been very easily pruned. First of all, I don't think it was in the wires. It only gets 35 feet tall. This tree is now 8.5 years old. It's 10 years old as of today. Obviously, it's not there, so you can't see it. But that picture is a very, very good description of that tree and the way it looks. 2016, it was the only year that we planted this particular tree. They've done very well in this climate. Since the city has no trained certified arborist on staff, it would have been, I guess, a good idea to have somebody that is certified to look at that tree, as my friend Jim Maloney would have done if he was asked. As far as I know, nobody was asked in the city to look at the tree before they took it down. This isn't the first time I've been here on trees that have been removed for not a good reason. I planted that tree. It's very, very tough to see trees that are very, very healthy that are cut down because somebody thinks that they're a nuisance tree. It could have been pruned. I could have pruned that tree with the proper equipment before it was removed. He did get asked if he wanted another tree. I don't know whether he wants another tree. And for the most part, people that have trees taken down, and you're going to find out with the ash trees that have just been removed, that most people, after suffering through with an ash tree over the last 5, 6, 7 years, are not going to want another tree in their front yard. That's almost a guarantee. Unless the city somehow works to say, you will get another tree in your yard. And this is one of the things I talked to the mayor about when they did Arthur Ave. Most of the trees that were up there that were old were taken down. What the city needs to do when they redo a street is not to ask the people that they're taking the tree down, they should be asking, what kind of tree would you like being replaced? We got too many streets in the city that are rebuilt, trees are taken down, and no trees are put back up. At one time, we were falling behind as far as trees being taken down, trees being planted. We're pretty close to that right now. Not in my lifetime, but it won't be far from into the future that trees will be removed and our streets will be barren of trees.
Mr. Dexter,
Yes,
if I can interrupt you, is Mr. Maloney a certified tree arborist?
yes, he is.
So will you get that information to?
Well, he's got it. I mean, Jim is retired. Jim is retired. Jim was a consultant on my tree commission for 20 years. Jim is the reason that the trees on Church Street are still standing.
This would be a good name and number to get to the DPW so that they
They know how to get a hold of Jim. Okay?
Yeah, I think
Thank you for that comment, but they know how to get a hold of Jim. As far as I know, and I might be wrong, Mike's not here, but I don't know if anybody from the DPW went and looked at those trees. I've got some other pictures here of, there were 5 trees taken down totally. This tree at 130 probably should have come down. If I was the homeowner, I would have wanted the tree down too because of what National Grid has done to that tree over the years. This is the tree at number 1, at 132.
Mr. Dexter, also not by any means, I'm not trying to.
I don't mind asking, because we who are a little hearing, if you get this microphone closer to your faces so we can hear
Just
you out
to
the
speak
audience.
out for Mr. Dexter and not National Grid by any means, but also National Grid does not have tree service anymore. Everything through National Grid is now subbed out. So there's probably some lack of communication through National Grid and whoever they hire out. They do not cut trees. They don't have a tree service anymore. Everything is subbed out.
That's true, Troy, but Jim
There's
Maloney,
still a responsibility by all means, but I'm just,
Jim
people
Maloney,
show up and
Jim Maloney was in charge of Nelson trimming trees. I do know that on this particular power line, a few years ago, I was going down the street, Nelson was there. I stopped, talked to him. They were pruning some of the trees that had been removed, either 154, 156, and 158. 2 of them were removed. I don't know what they were. I'm assuming they probably were a Norway maple or a sugar maple.
Yeah.
I stopped to talk to him. I said, do you know Jim Maloney? He said, no. Okay, enough of that conversation. If they don't know who Jim is and they're working for Nelson, then Jim isn't in charge of that crew. The crew that probably trimmed these trees comes directly from National Grid, and they worry about these particular power lines because people that trim trees have to be certified for one thing. And a lot of the people in Cortland that prune trees were not certified to take trees down that the city contracted for. I know one in particular that didn't either bid on the contract or when he got to a tree that was in the wires, he couldn't take it down legally because he'd been caught once before without certification from Jim, who trained these people to be able to work around the high power lines. You can't take, there was a guy who got electrocuted up in Tully a few years ago because he was pruning trees and he didn't know what he was doing. He got into the power lines. So my thing is, I am once again devastated that that tree has been removed without further consultation. I've been resigned from the tree commission. Dana is now in charge of it. I would hope that next time that they come into the city, and Jim always told National Grid or Nelson when they were trimming trees, get a hold of Mike, okay? Let Mike at least know that trees are being pruned. So when the neighbors start calling up, I can say, yes, Jim notified Nelson, to let Mike know, to let the city know that people will be on your street pruning trees. So I just ask that the city be a little bit more cautious and a little bit more adventuresome in getting people to look at trees before a tree like this that's 10 years old is removed from our landscape. That tree probably is 15 years old because it's in the nursery for 5 or 6 years before it's even taken out of the nursery and we get it. We only planted these trees 1 year and they've done very well. They were recommended to us by Nina Bassett over in Ithaca, who is a certified arborist. The other thing is the city doesn't have anybody, they're training people, but they don't have any certified arborists on staff. And anytime anybody had a problem in the city, call Mike. Mike will know who to get a hold of. Mike's not there anymore, and Dana will have my number, but I'm more than willing to go out and help. And when Jim comes back in town, we probably won't go out and prune trees that need pruning. But please, don't let this happen again.
We'll make sure we make the right now. Thank you. Mr. Nichols, Chief Nichols.
Good to see everybody. I'm Jim Nichols, and I want to just thank the DPW. The Cortland Rural Cemetery on Tompkins Street, established in 1853. As some of you may know, we've been struggling over the past several years because of the decrease in burials, the increase in expenses. We've been fortunate through Mike Dexter to meet Jim Maloney. And every year in September nationwide, they do saluting branches, all the arborists in the United States. And they'll go into a cemetery that has a military section and work on the trees. They have saved us hundreds of thousands of dollars over the past several years, removing bad trees in the cemetery. So along that line, trying to reduce expenses and maintain its cemetery so the city of Cortlandville doesn't end up owning it. The dirt from projects in the cemetery had grown to a humongous pile of dirt. And last summer, we allowed the people paving Tompkins Street to park their vehicles in the cemetery. And as a result of that, the DPW showed up here a couple of months ago and cleaned all that dirt out.
Wow.
Once again, saved us a fortune. And they did it without any begging or screaming at the mayor or the chairman of the DPW board or anything. So there's an example of, once again, Portland stepping up to save the cemetery. And along that same line, we have many, many people who offer services to the rural cemetery. And one in particular is Stephen Papagni, Economy Paving. And one of our big problems is we can't afford to buy a fancy pickup truck. And Stephen has given us 2 pickup trucks over the past several years to help us maintain the cemetery. So you've got Economy Paving, you've got the DPW. So I just want to thank the board, the council, and the DPW and these other entities for the service they provided. And one last thing, as you know, I'm the one that created two-way Main Street.
Thank you.
Why'd you let it go then? I had to bring it back.
Well, I was here in '68, had it overseas, and I think back in '69, it was one way.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, I've been.
We won't hold that against you then, Jim.
I've been keeping an eye on it, and I do believe it's a success.
Yes.
It looks cleaner, it's vibrant, I see traffic up and down all the time. Yeah, big deal backing in, but I think people are adjusting to that. So I want to thank the mayor and the council for what they've done. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Real quick, Scott, on that, since you brought Main Street up, I wanted to comment Mr. Chu's thing on Main Street. You know, you go in for an open heart surgery, they cut you open, you went in for 1 valve. We have to make a decision, now you need 2 valves. So we don't have time to make, we gotta move the project along, things got done that maybe wasn't rightfully so, but it cost us more money, so I just wanna bring that up.
I'm
Thank you.
not questioning the decision, I just thought jumping through the hoops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for everybody's comments. We'll move to the finance report. I'll just start off again to talk about Mr. Chu's comments about the finance, or the overages and bonds about that. So when that bond resolutions were done, there was bonds for Main Street, Clinton, and Groton. And when that was all done, there was a confusion on the bonding of WEFIA and some of the bonding on which ones went over top of the others. And so the 7 million, 8 million was for the combination of all of those different ones. So it should have been avoided that those grants should have been caught that they were all separated. Relied on council to help with that, but bond council didn't work out. So that's why we did it after the fact. All right, with that, we'll do your finance report next, please.
I'm not gonna go through and read, word, for word of the, finance agreement I sent out, but the 25 closeout, we're still, working on that. It is my plan to be able to send you a fairly up-to-date, I won't say it's 100% final, because it won't be at the next meeting of where we stand for 25. At least that's my goal at this point. We're still going through making entries and finding things that we gotta correct and what years they need to go in. But I'm still, hopeful that the original number I said at 2.5 is still a good number. In this, package today, there's a 2026, we made a budget adjustment. When we did that adjustment, there was 2 line items that were incorrect. When if you were to look at the, documents that Jade sent out to everybody, there's 2 highlighted items. There was one for $2,000 that I didn't move over, and there was another one that I think we did for $30,000. It should have been $31,037. Just when I gave it over to Jade, I gave her the wrong information. This is the corrected information. I'm giving you the whole transaction again, with the corrected items, but only the 2 items are different than the last meeting. The 24 audit, I'll speak a little bit more on that than what was written here. I had multiple conversations with the firm. It is not going to be done by the end of March like I anticipated and hoped. I do not have a good date from them on it. I have been on the phone. I have sent emails. Vital that we get this done before April 22nd. Okay, they are very much aware of that date. It's sort of out of our hands. I've actually threw an email out to them. If you're gonna say it's gonna cost me extra money to get it done, I'm willing to pay extra money if that's what it takes, okay? But I have not, gotten a good date back from them.
What happens after April 22nd if it's not done?
There's multiple different things that happen if it's not done. We have 2 things that require it to be done before the end of April. If we're gonna go to the financial review board, everything has to be done by the end of April, which includes the 24 hour. Number 2 is we have a bond and ban going out in May. Anything done after April 24th, we cannot release any audit information for basically a month. So that pushes it out to the end of May. So, every piece of information they have requested, they have had now for at least 10 days. I've got no new requests from them. The person in my office that's working with me on it, she's staying on top of it, and it's in their hands. And I wrote a very clear, concise email to them, telling them the importance of this. Would you agree with that, Mayor? I mean, there was no bones. It wasn't a mean letter. It was very to the point. Why we have to have this done.
His response was somewhat vague, but they had emergencies they had to deal with, but they would get it, make it a priority. So
Good.
we hope for the best.
IT projects are moving along. I still anticipate us to have everything up and running into the second quarter of 26. Our credit card machines came in probably 10 days ago now. We can't get them updated until we get everything up to speed, but we have a meeting tomorrow morning on this process, and they're going on weekly. Other financial information, the bonds and notes, as I mentioned, the issuance is going out in the May timeframe. In this letter, I stated to you that we would probably be looking at a negotiated sale. I sent everybody a copy of the Moody's report that we got. Even though that is downgraded, it's still at the same level. If you were looking at Fitch and Moody's reports, and our advisors have gone out to the financial community, and they feel that there's at least 2 or 3 people that will bid on our offering come May, and do not believe we need to do a negotiated sale. So that takes that out of the picture, which will make me feel better. And basically, the comment that I got back is that there's many communities, whether it's municipalities or school districts, that are now being downgraded into that type of ratio. So we're not out of the ordinary. It'd be nice to be better, don't get me wrong, but it's not like a situation where there's not gonna be people bidding on it. The sewer exclusion, I'm still waiting on that. I've had a couple, answers, questions come back from them. I supplied the state, the answers on that. I would hope I would get that before the end of the week. And the HRA medical expenses through, from January through March 20th, this is what we've actually paid out, is 192,432. I'm working with, the consortium to try to come up with a better report to send out to everybody, to better it, give us, where this is what we actually paid. There's another report that shows what's been incurred, okay? I'm trying to get that one so we have a better picture of where we are, more up to date. The lag from the time it's incurred to when it's paid, maybe 3-4 weeks, I'm not 100% sure. But, no, we're working on bettering that for everybody. I don't know if anyone has any questions.
I have a few. For starters, the Moody's downgrade reflects 50.1 million in debt for the city, which is the same as last year's. And I believe it actually noted that the DRI and other bonds are not factored into that equation. Is that your understanding as well?
$50 million worth of bonds is what we have on the books as of the end of the last borrowing time period, which would have been last May. Okay, that would have been what we would have had as bonds and bands.
How close are we to the constitutional debt limit?
Not close at all.
Do you have a percentage on that?
Tom, I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm gonna say it's in the mid-50s. I'm guessing when I say that. Okay, I'm just doing it in my head. I did it before to see where we stood.
Is that before or after the DRI?
That would be before the DRI.
Okay.
Tom, just so you understand this too, the constitutional debt limit is, as well as the tax limit, has changed dramatically in the last 2 years because all the assessment values have gone up.
Right.
And that's what everything is based off of. So as the assessment value goes up, all these ratios have decreased dramatically for every municipality.
Right. I'm guessing you also, and it's all right if you don't, but the tax cap, how close are we to that? Do you have a sense for that?
I don't. I have not looked at that.
The three reasons for areas of concern for the downgrade for Moody's in 2025 were material operating deficits and weaker reserves in fiscal year 2025, which we obviously saw happen. Inability to provide timely financial statements with unqualified auditor opinions, and significant increase in long-term liabilities and related fixed costs. Those three indicators of a future downgrade were repeated in this report. So far, we're at a $2.5 million deficit. It sounds like the audit may be running late. What constitutes an unqualified auditor's opinion?
If you go back and look at the 23 audit, basically there was not all information supplied to the auditors that satisfied their needs, okay? The biggest one being cash. And what I mean by that is, I'm making these numbers up. You have $10 million cash. What is general fund? What is water fund? What is sewer fund? Okay. That was not documented to where the auditors felt comfortable that they could put that in the financial statement and feel good with it. Okay. I could tell you that as of today, that 23 information has been supplied to them. I've reviewed it. I believe it documents that to remove that because they can't move that forward without having substantiation for 23. And I believe it's there. But that was the main reason for that. We'll call it an adversarial opinion.
I appreciate that. And the Moody's report also indicated that the credit rating could be withdrawn if the audit isn't completed by July.
That's correct.
Or excuse me, June. How big of a concern is that in your book? What would that look like if the rating was withdrawn? How would that impact the city's ability to borrow?
It would be after the fact, so we basically have a year to get it taken care of by pushing it out to June. Our borrowing's taken care of in May. so it won't have any effect until next May. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean it's good, don't get me wrong. But being honest, it's out of our hands right now. I mean, as they call up and ask for anything, they're getting it. Okay, I'm on the phone, the auditors, on my ride in or on my way home, making sure they have everything. It's important to me to get it done, for multiple reasons. Okay, but just to get it off the plate is, one of the things I might. And there's a lot of different things on my plate.
Sure. And I do appreciate your work on it. So thank you, Mr. Shaker. Governance was noted as a material driver in the rating action, as was depleted reserves, limited flexibility in terms of the city's finances, deficiencies in internal controls and oversight. Given the path we're on, we currently have a deficit. Our reserves, do you think we're likely to get in the positive in terms of reserves this year?
No.
And it sounds like we may end up running into some issues despite your efforts, and I appreciate your efforts with the audit. And we are adding, the DRI alone is another $8 million to the debt limit, or the debt the city has. How likely do you think are future downgrades moving forward, given where we stand now?
I don't think they're going to be downgraded from here. I really don't. I mean, I think we have a lot of work to do, but if we do the things we're supposed to do, to get the budget balanced and going forward, the 7.9 assists us in this rating, although it doesn't necessarily say it. It gives us the ability to pay off some of the bills we have to pay off and have cash to operate going forward.
What factors make you confident we won't have another downgrade? This is the 5th consecutive year that we have had one, and as I outlined, the 3 causes for a downgrade, it seems we're on track to meet. So I'm curious, what makes you?
The biggest one is really our operating deficit. Okay, that is the absolute biggest problem that we have, is that you have a series of deficits that put it in to a deficit balance. We have to stop that. We have to stop the bleeding. And I will just say that we are doing that every day, okay, in the office. Okay, things are coming in. Nope, we can't do this. It could be a $500 item that's being questioned. Okay, I think everyone needs it. You guys don't see that. Okay, but if you talk to some department heads, small items are being blocked. And one small item might only sound like $500. It may actually be $2,000 or $3,000 in the end. So everything is being addressed on a daily basis.
And I thought that we as a common council last year recommended and approved an austerity budget. Right?
Mhm.
So is that still in place?
Everything's looked at. Everything was going through budget and finance as a review. Everybody's filling out a spreadsheet, and they were being approved based on what was there and what was not. And that was being approved by the director of finance at the time. So there were some items that probably shouldn't have gone through.
So looking at what you shared with us from Moody's, following up on what Tom said, the continuing multi-year trend of structurally imbalanced operations deficits and narrowing reserves. Looking at the annual report in terms of Munis, is it currently, are the numbers currently up to date in Munis? Are things being inputted in an appropriate time frame?
I'm going to answer that, Ryan, and tell you that yes, okay, but I'm not going to tell you everything is entered in there 100%. It is better than it was in 25. Okay, we are going through a different process, and things are getting in there in a timely basis, and bills are getting paid in a timely basis.
Very good. The part of the concern, council is supposed to be a check or a balance. We're supposed to be able to come back and check on the numbers and make sure that the numbers reflect where we think the budget should be. And if the numbers that are provided are not accurate, that's a problem, because then we can't do our job. And if we can't do our job, then at the end of this year, we're gonna have more problems. Looking at, so we're provided original appropriations, a revised budget, and then available budget, basically what's being spent. It would be helpful, this is why the previous year's numbers are important, because if we had a comparison for this time last year, then we would have a better understanding where the actual numbers are. So for example, there's transfers from water and sewer funds that go to the general fund. And if those aren't done until the end of the year, then we know there's revenue coming in. But if they're done quarterly, then you know that some of that money, some of that revenue is coming in. Some of the expenditures in terms of personnel, you know that sometimes people are cashing in time that they can cash in at the end of the year. So it might look like there's a lot of money, but there's that large bill that's coming due. Now, the recommendations that we're looking at in terms of the finance committee is to talk about what policies and procedures are we following to make sure that the numbers are not only kept up to date, but we're not just looking at our expenditures, but also the revenues, and having a better idea before we get to the end of the year of where things will be. We don't have the luxury of reserves, so we can't look back and say, oh, we can dive in a little bit. So I'm saying this because I'm encouraging council, you know, I've shared some thoughts and we're gonna bring them back, I hope, not just to the committee, but also to the whole board here. Hey, these are some of the things that we need to do. And I was gonna say it in my ward report, but we've shared some information from the Office of the State Comptroller about different things that we can and should be looking at. And I would encourage us to take a stronger look and say, hey, these are the numbers that we need to have. In terms of Moody's, I appreciate you sharing this. It's not all great news, but it's important to see. And when they talk about what the credit challenges are, they also say factors that could lead to an upgrade. So basically they're saying, hey, here are some of the things that we need to do. Multi-year trend of structurally balanced operations, improved overall governance, including a demonstrated ability to provide timely financial statements with unqualified auditors' opinions. So it does put a lot on that annual audit in terms of, hey, we need to make sure we've got things lined up so that's going to get done in a timely manner. Unfortunately, where we're at, going down worse could be more than just a little bit detrimental. We need to make sure that we're trending upward in terms of our credit rating.
Right, basically what they said is stuff that I believe in personally in my prior community, places I worked at. We may have been late filing stuff. Okay, when I left, every single facility I worked at, things were done on time, audits were being done on time. You go back and look at the city of Binghamton, which I did download this information. I'll share with you my 10 years there. Okay, you can see how we got from point A to point B, how fund balances changed or went from a deficits to positives. Okay, how audits were done. Okay, I will work with the mayor and council to get that, to be in the same situation here. I think everyone here understands the issues we have. Okay, it was very clear the biggest problem that we have is that there's one line item in two budgets that's over $2 million. That's our problem. I can't fix that this year. Okay, it's what was out there as a revenue. It's not coming in. Didn't come in 24. Didn't come in 25. We fixed it in 26, 700,000. We have to now start peeling back the onion and figure out how do we get that $2.5 million back. It ain't one item you're going to do.
Right.
I mean, unless you want to get rid of the police or fire department, I mean, that's your only option to get $2.5 million back. And that's not going to happen. So,
you have said that you think that you have a plan in mind and that in 3 to 5 years, we could be on the right side of this. And I think as much as you can reveal.
Katie, can you talk into the mic?
Oh, sorry. Especially with the.
Yes.
The voice is really rattled right
Can't hear anybody, so you're not the only one who can't hear.
So, Chuck has said that in 3 to 5 years, he thinks that we can be in the black and have this period behind us. It's going to be really difficult, but he thinks we can turn it around. And I think that the news that we were so in arrears was really alarming. And what you're hearing is all of that concern. And if you could be as transparent as possible about the plan as we go along, that will help put people, us and the public at ease. I have a lot of faith in you, and I know you did great work at Binghamton. And I'm really glad that we have you on board just from the meetings that I've been in. You're very experienced, and I think we can do this. We just, you've mentioned we have to do the right things. You know what they are. I don't necessarily know what they are. Brian has some great ideas, you know what I mean? So as much as possible, if we can outline what we're doing so that people know and have faith that we're headed in the right direction, that'll be really good.
Katie, to summarize it real quick, there's really nothing I can say right now today that's gonna answer that question 100%. It's gonna be everyone's input. And over the years of doing budgeting and trimming back different areas, keeping the revenues where they need to be, bringing in more revenues, where we can, okay? But it's gonna be, small steps, nothing real big that's gonna make it all happen. And it's really gonna be everyone's input into it.
The most important part is that we have accurate numbers that are receiving 26 is up to date and keeping them accurate. We were told that 25 was the same and it wasn't, and we weren't not getting necessarily a true message. But I think that's the most important part. You see, I agree with Brian that comparing the 25 to 26 to see where you're projected at, although at that time period, it should, I don't know that it would be, if they made the entries at the end of the year for wastewater, it's not gonna be accurate because it would be the same. But with those explanations on the things that are big items that should be in the financial report that we're asking for monthly, and say, why are we having such a lag, or why are we ahead so much, or why are we anticipating that? Is this a good thing? And I think taking that extra time to have that once a month is going to be helpful. So I think if that's the focus we need to get, once get closer to getting your arms around it, to get to that point where it's getting in sync, getting the auditors and keep pushing them politely and diligently. We appreciate that professionalism. That's difficult balance too, because they'll jump real quick. But we appreciate that.
Mary, 100%. Katie, I want you to understand this is, to do any of our real job of trying to get there, we have to get everything caught up to speed with all the data in the system, so you can analyze it efficiently and understand it all, okay? There's so many different things that aren't up to date that we look at and say, oh, this isn't right. I found stuff today from 23 and 24 that wasn't accurate. So when I just look at it, I'm not just saying, let's hear and stop. Why did this happen? Okay. But we got to bring it all up to speed. That's what we're working on doing.
Okay.
Anybody else? Okay. Receiving the financial report, and then we'll move to the mayor's report. I just have a couple things. We had a couple fires, one on Tompkins Street. It was at 2:30 in the morning, and that building is down and cleaned up today. Yep. South Main Street, we had another fire on Sunday at 12:30 in the afternoon in a 4-unit, but 2 of the 4 units are back occupied. So again, we appreciate the diligence of the fire department in both cases, handled as we would always expect. A great job and well done, and got aid from, I think I saw Virgil there, and the one Homer was there. One of our police officers in Homer fire gear, so he was there backing up too. So it was great to see everybody working together to make sure that was all safe to do that. Attended Cortland County occupancy tax discussion. The county's looking to doing something different in the occupancy tax. We had a kickoff for the Nos Park, for the dog park, and that construction and the dirt bringing in for that area. And I had a meeting today. I'm directing this at Mr. Chu because I think he would be excited about this one. I met with Hive Tracks today, and they're looking. Hive Tracks is an organization that sets up bees and pollinators within solar fields. So
Nice.
it's a kind of a program we're looking at, and it goes into a biodiversity monitoring program. They keep really good track of it and take care of setting up those beekeepers. So it'd be great to use that brownfield as habitator for that. And they have dashboards, and it's pretty intensive stuff. So there'd be more to come on that. So that's exciting news for sure. In the wastewater, our generator is now running full function, which is the first time in a while. We built some items in that to make sure that that's running, which is a good cost savings and a good way to generate power off our gas usage. So that's a good thing to have up and running again. And the Youth Bureau Easter egg hunt is 10 a.m. this Saturday at Suggit Park. Summer camp registration is open, and those camp dates are July and August. We're working on the concert series up to a big event in August with the county. The Birch Building had some upgrades, and then the community beach thing at Gaming Park is going to be up in this then. On Main Street, Riz Eats opened up, which is next to Woodman's Pub. They opened up 10 days ago. And Nano's Chicken will be opening up in the next 4 or 5 days. And Maxwell MK's artwork is being installed as we speak. And he gave me the remote control for the lights that are inside of that, so they can change the colors of the lights that are inside of that. But that's a beautiful piece of art, and I think art is always what's in the beholder. So I challenge everybody to look at it and tell me what it is. But it's exciting to see those come together. We have one more piece of artwork that has to go in, and certainly some more benches and trash cans that have to be put in after this winter, which we hope is over. So that's what I had. So with that, we'll move to Ward 1.
Thank you. So, as I stated, we had a finance committee meeting last Tuesday, which was on St. Patrick's Day, and good, robust discussion in terms of where we're at and some of the things that we can do. Going to continue to meet and talk about recommendations, what we can do as a council to better monitor and fulfill our obligations. Actually had a concern call today about the DPW website. It talks about brush collection for 2025, asking for it to be updated. So I'm going to follow up with Mike about that. And he helped me out. We had a resident whose one of the totes was damaged during collection, and helped address that issue. Also, two different items. Video from the last meeting, Mr. Jewett, is not up on the YouTube website. Is there anticipated time when that might be available?
Right after this meeting.
Very good. And I do have interest in, I'm not sure where we're at with Parker School and future plans, but I've got a strong interest in being involved and engaged in that. So that's it for my report.
Scott, real quick, Brian, I had some concerns about DPW. People this weekend went down and used the compost pile. I guess it's gated now or something. I don't know who's on that committee. Are you on that committee? I just brought that up because we were talking about DPW. Okay.
Ward 2.
It's been very quiet in the second ward. A lot of our neighbors were gone for spring break. Quite a few were left behind, but it's a density issue. And when there aren't as many, they're as quiet as anybody else, which is really lovely. Also, the cold this winter has been rough. And so when it is nice, we expect that people will be outside enjoying the weather in their fashion. So we get that. I went to the finance committee meeting, and I also attended a meeting for codes. And that's about it for the second ward.
Thank you. Ward 3.
Okay, couple of issues. So I had my first ward meeting. The mayor was there. Kathy Bishop, who's our legislator for the ward, was there. And about 20 people showed up. It went very well. There are major concerns, and Mike Weiss was there, and he's aware. It was at the waterworks. Major concerns about the state of several streets that were torn up and repaired and repaved last summer. Belrose, Melvin, Elwood, and Glen. So Mike is in conversation with Suco, and I'm gonna have another ward meeting, but I'm gonna wait until we see what Suco can do to repair the streets, okay? So the other issue is I received a letter, I'm gonna read it, and I'm gonna hand out copies to all common council persons. I was asked to do that. But I'm gonna read it. It's one for Brian. And so, from Groton Ave, dear Mayor Scott, Steve, Commons Council members, and DPW. We are writing to you regarding manhole covers located on the street in front of 174 Groton Ave, as well as 181-184 Groton Ave. These covers have recessed below street level asphalt and have become a big concern and issue to us. When 18-wheeler trucks, lawn and snow removal trucks, trucks with trailers attached, and other large vehicles travel on Groton Ave, they go over these manhole covers. This makes an extremely loud slamming noise and actually shakes our homes and windows. This has progressively gotten worse since Groton Ave was resurfaced. This is not a quote-unquote once-in-a-while occurrence as it happens 24/7. We are actually very concerned about our home's foundations, structural stability, and windows. 18-wheeler traffic is more prevalent than it was for many years, and the traffic on Groton Ave is at times extremely heavy. This issue was discussed in the past with the prior DPW superintendent. We are requesting that this issue be addressed and fixed to resolve above concerns. If you would like additional details or wish to speak to us, you have the person's name, Krista Stark, and her phone number, and it's signed by several residents of Groton Ave, and I have their signatures. So I know Mike's not here tonight, but I want to make sure he gets a copy of this. And this is a major concern. And Krista had shared with me that their house shakes when the 18-wheelers go by, literally shakes. So just bringing it. And that's it for me.
Dave, that's a trucker, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And the good news is those manholes are adjustable.
Okay.
So, once the construction season gets clear and the asphalt plant opens, they'll have to cut that back and
Okay.
put it up.
So that can be taken care
So
of.
that it's not a good solution, but we'll put it on their list.
Okay, thank you.
Ward four.
On Friday, March 13th, I received a text from Chief Friedman at 3:34 in the morning. Thank you. And it said, call me when you get this. Well, he got a call about 8 o'clock. And it was about the structure fire at the former King's Den. I went up and he was able to fill me in on what was going on and the fact that the fire inspectors were there, what they were looking for. And then I was able to go back a little later and the family was there. And so I got to meet them and that was good, and to, offer any assistance I could. I've gotten calls from several people on Lower Pearl Street, toward the college. Problems continued with parking on Pearl I think it's a 2-hour limit, but they are there longer than 2 hours. Sometimes blocking driveways. One lady had, I don't know, she said it was last year. I don't know if it was water, DPW had come along and done some work and left a couple of piles of rocks on her lawn. And I did go down, I took pictures, I went down and they were there. And she's concerned about when she gets the lawn mowed. And debris at the very end of the street. Betty Orr was gonna go out and try to clear it away, but she said it's too heavy for her. And I spoke to Mike about all these issues and he said he would take care of it. I also attended a code fee meeting actually two. And that's it from the board.
Thank you. Move back.
So I also received a call from the chief. Mine was on a Sunday afternoon, so a little more reasonable time frame. But I appreciate the communication on the fire in South Main, as well as all the work in putting it out. I've been in contact with Mike about some issues on South Main with trees where the grates are obstructing their growth, and he and I will be working on getting those issues addressed. I need to get in touch with him with the addresses. Had a ward meeting a couple weeks ago. Good attendance, good discussion. I did have a lot of people who asked questions about what's going to be going into the CP cash and carry lot. I know you had mentioned, Mr. Mayor, that there was a plan for that. Do you have an update on that front?
There's still.
Okay. When you do have updates, I think it would be great to share those with the board. A lot of folks are curious about what's going to be going in there, and there's some concern with the lack of communication with the folks in the ward on the plans for that storefront. Beyond that, I will be having another ward meeting coming up Monday, April 13th, again in Beaudry Park from 6 to 7 p.m. So looking forward to that, and that is it from the 5th ward.
Ward 6.
All quiet in the 6th ward, a lot of calls from people excited about agenda item number 1. They're concerned about, obviously, the building's dilapidated, and that the fact that we have resources and there's funding there, that we should move ahead on this. And we've had a lot of discussion, and we'll discuss that in a few minutes, but a lot of people are excited about that project. Thank you.
Ward 7.
Couple quick things. SUNY Cortland are doing their annual 11th annual community-wide service project. I don't know if it's on our website.
Yeah.
It is, okay. Just a reminder, you gotta have your stuff in by the 27th for the April 19th cleanup day. It's 11th annual. Scott mentioned about the art on Main Street. Looks good. And got some calls from not my ward, but some residents on Hyatt Street. I thank DPW for getting a new fence up behind the compost pile. We're very happy with that. There was a fundraiser at DAV this past weekend for the K9 unit at the police department. I think they raised almost $8,000. Am I correct? Just over $8,000 for the K9 unit. That was huge. So other than that, thank the fire department. You always do. They've been pretty busy. And I also got a call from Main Street. I went down there to help them. I hurt my finger, put the ladder back on the truck, and he told me, "What are you doing?" But anyways, no comp case, so you're all good there. Wish the police would call me once in a while for some help. They know better, but all good. All good. We appreciate both all the departments in the city for what they do for us, the constituents, everybody. So all set.
Ward 8.
Just a couple of items. Parking committee met again last week. We went over the fees. Some stayed the same, some went up, some went down. All these will be posted at some point on the city's website. If they already haven't been posted already, I'm not sure when. I think that kind of concludes this committee meeting. Any further? This actually went pretty quick. Mike Dexter, I got a question for you regarding pink ribbons on trees. I had a constituent ask me, are all these trees being taken down? And I said, I don't think that's the case. I think what the mayor and I concluded was that there's a tree survey in the process, and these trees might have been marked as being already accounted for. Are you aware of anything like that?
Which trees you talking about?
All trees in the city.
I
I drive around, but I guess I don't see all the trees and I don't see the ones with the pink ribbons on.
I'm thinking that maybe, certain ones have already been identified and accounted for, so they might be in the early process. I'm still trying to find out exactly why the pink ribbons are there.
I guess I'm not the right person to ask. I don't know anything about it.
Okay, all right,
Tom, were those ribbons on branches or on the trunks?
run the branches.
Because we had some limbs taken down, it might be DPW, and I understand that when the plow goes through, they were trying to trim back some branches.
That's possible, yep.
Were they branches that were hanging over the road?
I wouldn't say a lot, but yes. I don't think, that some of the ones I've seen weren't gonna come any closer to the truck in question. But that's a possibility that was also brought up in the conversation.
Are they still doing the fiber stuff through the city? They might be marking them where the fire, I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there. Whatever.
But we'll have some answers for you anyways, probably by
I
next week.
appreciate the question, but I guess I'd rather have somebody tell me about trees that are being cut down first.
Right, yeah. All right, that's all I have, thank you.
Thank you. Approval of minutes. We get a chance to read the minutes. Take a motion to accept. Mr. Carpenter, Mr. Beck, I'm sorry, Ms. Silverman. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I just would like to make a comment. I'm not sure the, all the points that were discussed for some of the agenda items were thoroughly included. I'm not going to ask for things to be added, but might be weighing in a little bit more in the future.
Okay, that's why we approve them. Thank you. Resolutions, agenda item number 1, bond resolution of the city of Portland, New York, authorizing issuance of 4,796,965 zero bonds to finance the cost of the reconstruction and improvement of the bathhouse and pavilions at Demon Beach.
I'll read section 1, section 12. City of Portland, New York is hereby authorized to undertake the reconstruction and improvement of the bathhouse and pavilions at Gaming Park, whether or not including grading or improvements of the site, original furnishings, equipment, machinery, or apparatus required at a minimum estimated cost of $4,796,965, and to issue serial bonds in the aggregate principal amount not to exceed that same amount pursuant to the provisions of the local finance law to finance the established cost, the estimated cost of the aforesaid object or purposes. And section 12, the city director of administration and finance is chief fiscal officer of the city, is hereby authorized to enter into undertaking for the benefit of the holders of the bond from time to time, and any bond anticipation notes issued in anticipation of the sale of the bonds, requiring the city to provide secondary market disclosure as required by certain Securities and Exchange Commission Rule 15C2-12 as amended.
I get a motion. Ms. Lane, Beckwith, have any questions?
Just real quick, I know years ago, Mr. Yeaman put up $1 million ago in some fund. I don't know if it's still active. I don't have a lot more detail. It just brought to my attention. I don't, maybe Andrea knows anything about it or.
Yeah, we get money from them every year. Andrea, what we, some of the blow up items we got this year is from that. I don't remember the exact amount they pay us every year based off the dividends. Otherwise it wouldn't go away, but it's about.
We get about $15,000 a year,
10 to
but I don't know.
I was just curious.
It's a
I'm
trust.
throwing it out there. I don't have any more information.
It's a
to
trust.
give you that. It's in a trust fund somewhere that we could tap in, offset this. We look into that.
It's a trust that we have, and I did go to them as well.
I'm sure if Mr. James was still alive, he'd just like to move on. Unfortunately, we lost a good guy there, so we don't have him.
But they are still actively giving, even this year, giving towards the law equipment that goes into the.
I'll try to do some more research on that to see if what it was. It was just
Yeah, we meet with the executives, if you will.
Yeah.
About that and about what projects we're doing every year.
I have a question. It says in here that the bathhouse is expected to last 15 years. Did I read that correctly?
That's the PPU, what they
That's the bond.
anticipate, the bond.
Yeah,
That's what the bond, you can't, obviously the building would last longer than that, like a year, but the bond rate, you can only bond the building.
for 15 years, okay, but then we expect to pay it off in 5, is that correct? Did I read that correctly?
I don't know that
I
that's
wouldn't
true.
necessarily say that.
Okay,
Okay, we could pay it off over 15 years. It could stay on a band for 5 years, like on a note for 5 years, then go to a bond
okay,
for another 10. It could be there for a total of 15.
okay.
Tom and Brian, you talked about funding sources possibly for the future. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so one of the concerns, and this goes back to our conversation earlier about managing the finances, is that there is a 20% city match that's approximately $900,000, possibly more, $900,000, possibly more, depending on whether or not we can do some work in kind. And the question is, where do we come up with that money? And I think this is a perfect example of things that we need to answer the question now, as opposed to trying to figure it out when the bond comes up in another year. During the finance committee meeting, one of the discussions had been about user fees, but there's already user fees in place, in particular, people outside, non-residents. So another suggestion, properties, talking about trash and recycling collection. So properties that have more than one set of totes charging a fee, and then the revenue from that to come towards offsetting the cost annually of the bond. And in previous discussions, I believe the estimate was that annually it might be about $60,000. And if we can come up with that revenue, we have a way of saying, hey, we have an offset here. I think that puts us in a good position. And I think we all agree this is a great project. This is something that can really benefit us. It's a lot of opportunity coming from the state, but we still need to be accountable for our portion of the costs here.
Just add some, this August is gonna be the first time that we've had an event that's gonna be coordinated with the health department as well as our youth bureau. We plan on having, health department having many booths set up, food vendors, movie night, and also, Tink Bennett will be playing that night. This is all combined in the one day. So just to give you an idea of, what we have planned this summer just for this part. And, charging more people, to attend these events, I don't think that's the answer. I think you're gonna drive people away, especially when it comes to swim passes and stuff like that. I say, let's stay the course. Let's do our due diligence in trying to find revenue sources to cover the 60,000 for the bond. But other than that, these parks are totally being utilized every summer for a lot of events. And Yemen Park is just one of them. Thug it together. So these parks are a big playing portion of our city government. And people look forward to coming to these events. So I just wanted to point that out.
So I have an idea. What if we, just like the state does with the state parks, issued a season's pass to Yemen? And so that could be anybody, not just the city of Cortland residents, but anybody could have a season's pass. I mean, I don't know how much revenue it would generate, but it's at least worth considering. It's at least worth considering. So it would generate some revenue, but it would be a season's pass.
Right, is to regulate that. How, I don't know, people pulling in the road or parking out there, I don't, our police department is at the swim police, right? We're not gonna be going down there.
Well, it would be like a sticker, just like the state does. It would be a sticker on the car.
Anything's a possibility.
Yeah, anything that can be.
State parking, state time I go to a state park, there's always somebody in the garbage.
Yeah, that.
I like the idea of charging for the extra totes
Yeah.
as an income generator. And I wonder, how quickly we could get that up and going.
Well, based on that discussion in the finance committee meeting, we set up a trash meeting in the next couple of weeks. So the trash committee will look at that as well as other areas as we continually need to do to crunch all these numbers. I mean, it's just that adds to the bucket of 2.5, which we got to crack. So we'll look at that number.
And I think that's gonna be an easy sale to people personally, knowing that extra toast gonna cost you this and this is where it's going, instead of just saying your toast gonna cost you $5, it's going in general fund and we can just go buy coffee and donuts.
Right.
Which we don't normally do, I'm just saying, but we never do, but.
True.
It's a good point that, everybody can use this part.
Right.
I did when I was a kid. And I didn't, back then I didn't live in Portland, but.
Well,
It's gonna come to a point that the buildings are gonna be so bad that we're gonna have to, close it down, right? And then we have this opportunity that we can't take advantage of right now that.
You got a pool, you gotta have a bathhouse.
Yeah.
when we had contracts with surrounding villages and municipalities, we didn't have to charge.
Right.
But they backed out of those contracts, and so that's why we're charging.
It's one town, so.
I was really proud of having the only free pool in the county. But,
Back in the day, they used to charge 50 cents to go to Gaming Park. When
really?
we were kids, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's why the dad was there. Yeah.
50 cents.
I think
We lost the one in Homer. I don't know if McGraw still got their rock pool. That, I did my swimming thing over there. I did the lifeguard for years over in McGraw. Or years, but a couple summers.
Yeah, countywide Gaming Park is used, we need to go back to those municipalities.
One of
I
the
think that's
things that
another,
happen a lot.
another revenue generator would be to go back to those municipalities and put that emphasis on that. And I think they'll see some of the impact of these large fees. And unfortunately, they're gonna be disgruntled with the youth bureau employees this year, but I think we can probably fund some of that money back next year. And it was 80,000, 60,000 to cover this bond would be an easy one too. So I think there's a couple different great ideas, from the past to the votes to, other municipalities to, I think we should look at our money.
Yeah. And believe me, when the weather gets warm, Portlandville phone's gonna ring off their hook from Portlandville residents because, right now, nobody thinks about it because there's snow on the ground or not snow on the ground now. You don't think about, residents don't think about that Portlandville didn't fund Homer and.
It's gonna be a big surprise.
Right. It'd be a bigger surprise when it warms up and then all of a sudden they can't get in to use our parks without paying.
Oh, it's projected to be a warm summer this year, so we'll see from the fall how things shake out.
Yeah.
This is a project that's definitely needed. And if we wait any longer, we'll be paying, $1 million plus down the road to do the same thing that we can do now for a fraction.
We'll be paying all of it because we won't have the grant.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Is there any objection to the idea of charging for the additional totes?
Something to look into, definitely.
As long as I don't get charged for the ones I have.
Do you have two sets?
One set.
Currently, we do charge for anybody that does have more than one side.
One other question, section 10, and it talks about grant funds and any such grant funds applied to pay the principal or interest on the bonds or bonds in anticipation of the bonds to the extent obligations shall not have been issued under this resolution. And I think this is more towards Mr. Shager. Can we have assurances or can we work to make sure any grant monies that are received do go back to pay down whatever is taken out in terms of debt? So we're gonna have the bond.
Yeah, and that's what that's it.
Yeah, well, just to
As
make
long
sure,
as I'm here, I'm gonna tell you it's a given. Okay.
Okay.
well, just to make sure we're clear, I want to make sure we're clear for the general public. The idea is that the city borrows money and then after we borrow the money, we're doing the work, we're paying the bills, and then the city gets reimbursed afterwards. And for the reimbursements, the grant money coming back in, that should go to pay down that front end borrowing.
We will not bond we will not be bonding, we'll be banding banning for 4.7 million.
But we won't even, that ain't.
If we don't have to.
We're only gonna ban whatever, we're gonna pay for the engineering right now, then we'll deal with the rest.
But if we have to, we have to.
Yes.
We can ban up to that amount. So we don't end up with that, but we will not, I guarantee you, we'll not bond for that for sure, because all that reimbursement will go back to you.
Okay,
Same with the money that we set aside for the city share. In-kind services, through our DPW and our other departments, would probably bring that down even more.
Right.
okay.
Andrea,
Yeah, let's call the vote.
Andrea, when is the date you're looking at, is to start the project?
Would like to start it this fall. I think it may be pushed back a month or two.
Okay.
But the season ends August 16th, August 17th.
Okay, good.
I'm hoping to start after that. Okay, with that, we'll call the vote, please.
Councilmember Tobin.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon.
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith. Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 2, appoint Jim Dempsey to the Cortland Housing Authority Board.
Resolved that the city of Portland County Council hereby appoints James Dempsey to the Portland Housing Authority Board for a term expiring December 31st, 2033.
I move it.
Second.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Beckwith. Any questions? Move it, please.
Councilmember Tobin.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon.
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 3, amend resolution number 170 of 2025 relating to the wastewater infrastructure engineering planning grant.
Resolved that resolution number 170 of 2025 is hereby amended to designate the Director of Administration and Finance as a primary contact for the grant. And be it further resolved that the local match for this project shall be funded in an amount not to exceed $6,560 from account G 8110.510000 sewer professional services and $3,040 from account number 1325.510000 administration finance personal services. Be it further resolved that all other provisions of resolution number 170 of 2025 shall remain in full force and effect.
Make a motion. Ms. Sullivan, Mr. Beckwith. Any questions? Move it, please.
Councilmember Tobin.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon.
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 4, authorize mortgage subordination agreement.
Resolved that the city of Portland subordinates its mortgage instrument number 2018-04959, recorded on August 30th, 2018 with the Portland County Clerk, said subordination to facilitate a new home equity line of credit with Giddings Credit Union in an approximate amount of $40,000 for said owner, and further authorizes Mayor Steve to sign a subordination agreement for the same.
Motion. Mr. Beckwith and Mr. Michaels. Any questions? Move it, please.
Councilmember Tobin.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello. Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon.
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 5, amend the 2025 adopted budget to reallocate funds for the Parks and Recreation vehicle.
Resolved that the city of Portland County Council does hereby amend the 2025 city budget as outlined in the accompanying table. I'll read that if anyone requests.
Can I get a motion? Ms. Lane? Okay. Collins, any questions?
What is the vehicle? What is the need?
She's already gone.
Oh, it's gone. It's a 450 pickup truck that, has the hauling capacity to haul the showmobile and, the plowing capacity for the, as well for the youth bureau projects for, hauling equipment and mainly the showmobile too. It's big enough to handle the showmobile and doing, the other ones, I think there's a foot of rust around the wheel well gone, so replacement for that one. Anybody else? Over, please.
Councilmember Tobin,
Nay.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Hmm. Nay.
Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith,
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
The resolution passes 6-2.
Agenda item number 6, amend the 2026 adopted general fund budget.
Resolved that the City of Portland County Council does hereby amend the 2026 general fund budget as outlined in the accompanying table. I will read it if requested.
I got a motion. So Mr. Carpenter and Mr. Beckwith. Any questions? I just, you just did earlier. Can you move it, please?
Councilmember Tobin,
I'm sorry, can we, I should have asked the question, in terms of the consolidated highway aid, can you explain for myself again what we're doing here? CHIPS funding?
In the original budget that was passed in December, there was $720,000 of CHIPS money in the budget that was above what the expenses were in error. Okay, I think there was $800,000 worth of expenses and 1.5 million in revenue that they should match. Okay, this is correct. That was part of the correction.
Okay.
So again, that's a spend and then reimburse.
Yes.
Anybody else?
So these are all legitimate numbers.
Yes, like I said earlier, the two that are highlighted, when you passed the one the last meeting, it was 31,000. It should have been 31,037. And the personal service emergency call-in, I left that out totally. It should have been 2,000 in there. It was just my mistake. When I gave it to Mayor Secretary, it was an error on my part. When I was entering the data in, I realized.
I knew it wasn't Jake's fault.
Can you move it, please?
Councilmember Tobin,
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello,
Aye.
Councilmember Lane,
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon,
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter,
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith,
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 7, authorize agreement with Plan First Technologies for information technology services.
Resolved that the Common Council of the City of Portland hereby authorizes the city to enter into an agreement with Plan First Technologies for the provision of managed information technology services under the pricing structure described above. Be it further resolved that the Director of Administration and Finance or Corporation Council are hereby authorized to execute the agreement on behalf of the city. Be it further resolved that the expenditures associated with this agreement shall be charged to account number A1680.541500 contractual professional services or such other appropriate account is determined by the Director of Administration and Finance. Be it further resolved that the agreement shall become effective upon execution by the authorized parties.
I'll move it.
Ms. Pinello,
One second.
Ms. Sullivan.
I have a question. What have we been doing up to this point in terms of this service?
We have ABS Solutions, which is based out of Rochester, and which brings some difficulties. I just want to clarify one thing before we go any further. I'm going to disclose that I'm on their board and I've been involved with the Plan First Technologies. We did put an RFP out, and Randall was part of that RFP opening process. I never even saw all the RFPs, but maybe you want to just address those RFPs and then we'll go back to your question.
Yeah, we had 9, I believe it was, vendors put in for the RFP. Plan First was by far the most competitive bid. The current vendor ABS did not bid for the project. And there was a company that's headquartered out of Utica that has an Elmira office that would have been the second one, but they were about $40,000 a year more expensive than Plan First. So other ones went up as high as being $700,000 more than planned first. They're out of New York City, so.
Oh,
So, if you look at our ABS projects, we've had a lot of improvements that we've had to do over the past few years. One being, we had to change our servers, two being, we had to change how we, Microsoft Office and how we handle that. You can't have licenses and, had to do the 365 version, which changed our emails and our email servers. So we've done a lot of projects, IT related projects over the last few years. So that's increased that cost, but the charges that we get from ABS has been, somebody has nickel and dime, I guess is probably the best way to say it. Well, this is more of a totality. It covers all of the majority of the costs that are there. Anything that breaks obviously is different, but it covers the day-to-day issues that people have on their computer like we did today before the meeting.
So does it handle it? So it sounds like it's mostly about security.
They're doing the IT, so, their security is one process of that. So they'll do an audit for our security. There's been a security breach since Iran for PLC, for example, and a wastewater and water. We have to be aware of that. So we have to pay attention to those items. So security is an important part, but now we have the Wi-Fi system downtown, the cameras, all those communications back and forth, the phone communications that goes through. It's voice over IP, so that goes over the computer as well. So they're all IT generated, but they're more local in-house to be able to help do that. They were the backup plan. So we immediately go to the county if they can help, but they're running behind, so they weren't really a lot of help. And then we went to Plan First as the third strike after ABS. ABS has handled the city outside of Dave Stathis for many years. They were doing it all, and Dave was in front of it. He was part-time at the time, so, but it's kind of been running away, so we put an RFP out to try to get something more reasonable.
So this is part of our getting up to date in all of our systems up to date.
They're up to date, it's just a different person to manage them. You know what I mean, to make sure that, so basically they have software that they put on. Part of this cost is they put software on the PCs and it monitors to say, if somebody's computer's running slow, or if a switch gear is going out and Wi-Fi is not working, or, it does that automatically now, and so and send them a message back, and then they'll deal with it. A lot of times they can deal with it remotely, and if they can't, they'll have to deal with it. But as our system gets more and more complex, it's better to have somebody available for that. But it's not enough to warrant a full-time position to do it. It's just big enough to not need that, but small enough to need something.
What's the price point on this, and how does that compare to what we're paying with ABS?
Do you remember what the total bid was on this? I don't remember. I
think it was like 70,000.
Yeah, that's what I had in my head. 60 to 70 is what I had in my
High
head.
60s, I believe.
Yeah, 60 to 70,000 is what this is. But again, because if you look at the bills that we get from ABS, they're 3 pages long. And if Chief Guerrera calls them, or Jay calls them for something to be addressed, we get charged for that period of time. Where a lot of those would not be charged because they're all under the auspice of what this coverage is. So it's hard to say, but I think it's a good point to be looked at as we monitor these numbers, and they're accurately there. We can see where we're at. But we did we had capital projects that we did last year to deal with computers. I think we did 15 computer replacements and then some upgrades. So it's pretty in depth, but I think there's definitely a huge savings, huge. I think we'll see enough, I would say an easy $60,000 savings.
So the budget line for this year is more than what the contract is? There's enough budgeted to cover this, yes?
I even have to pull that, but yeah, we can. 1680. I'm not sure how if she separated out the computer assets into software.
Maybe 6,000. Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
So, and that's just the software, and then there's software that would be a savings as well. So there's 93, is that what you said?
96.
96,000 and this is 60 to 70, so it's a phase. Anybody else?
Are personnel gonna have to learn new software? Is there gonna be a big training?
No, they just, help desk,
Pretty seamless.
help desk at Cortland, I mean, it's not seamless in their world, handing off a big football like that, but from user standpoint, the help desk is what we use now, and that will be the same, we own that domain.
That's great.
So how large is your technical staff?
They have, 8 level 3s, and I think 10 level 2s, and then people above that.
Okay, that's, wow, we're pretty local.
On Main Street.
Yeah, yeah.
Looking for a job, John?
No, in case we need technical support for the stuff the council does.
No, I know.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Anybody else? Okay, go ahead, please.
Councilmember Tobin.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon.
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 8, authorize memorandum of agreement with Police Benevolent Association for compensatory time use.
Resolved that the city of Cortland County Council hereby authorizes the mayor to enter into a memorandum of agreement with the Cortland Police Benevolent Association to permit members to utilize accrued compensatory time through December 16, 2026, in lieu of payout at the end of the first quarter of 2026.
Any motion? Ms. Stillman, Carpenter, and any questions? You want a little explanation or you understand?
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So ultimately, because of the increase in staff, the recruits, we got graduation next month, right, Chief?
3 weeks.
3 weeks, yeah. So,
Let's go next month.
that's next month. Right? You gotta be on the 24-hour time. So with all that, they'll need that extra training. So this just gives us that time to give them compensatory time. Their contract says they have to pay it out in the quarter. This will give it extra time. So cash is king, right? So cash is what we need. So time off will be awarded. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, move it, please.
Councilmember Tobin.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon.
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 10, approve special events permits for Porch Fest on August.
No, you missed that.
Sorry. All right, I saw police.
Still on vacation.
Agenda item number 9, declare police department vehicle surplus and authorize sale by auction.
Resolved that the county council hereby declares the 2018 Chevrolet Tahoe as surplus and grants permission for the agency to sell the vehicle on Auctions International, with any proceeds from the sale being placed in the budget account A3120.42655, sale of equipment.
Moved by Ms. Stillman. Mr. Carpenter, who's in the jump here. Anybody have any questions? Okay, move it, please.
Councilmember Tobin.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon.
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 10, approve special event permits for Porch Fest on August 16, 2026.
Resolved that the city of Portland County Council does hereby approve the issuance of permits as described below. Porch Fest event, on August 16, 2026, noon to 6 p.m. on Van Heusen Street, Harrison Street, Joy Street, and Chestnut, with permits to close those streets, so sound device permit without fee and special event permit.
I'll move it.
Ms. Farrell, Ms. Lane.
Just real quick. Are we missing a street here? Am I thinking something else? Not that, I mean, I'm really gonna make an issue out of it, but I thought there was another street. I'm trying to get my bearings over there. Chestnut's where you, no, you're at Amy's and.
Yeah.
Amy's on.
Joy?
That's not.
Joy's there.
Joy's back.
Okay, I'm just throwing it out there. I was just missing the street. I walk them every year, but.
We're gonna block that.
Maybe I just go around in circles by the end of the day.
That whole area. It's a great event. We're excited about it.
We're on the northwest side, how's that?
Can I get a motion? Yeah.
Yeah, I had a motion.
Motion second.
Motion second. Move it, please.
Councilmember Tobin.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon.
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 11, approve special event permit and sound device permit for Corn Ducky Derby on May 2nd, 2026 in Suggit Park.
Resolved that the city of Portland County Council does hereby approve a special event permit and sound device permit without fee for the Corn Ducky Derby to be held in Suggit Park on May 2nd, 2026, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Be it further resolved that the city clerk shall issue said permits conditioned on fulfillment of applicable state and local code requirements.
Colin, you have a second? Ms. Stillman?
Whack away.
That's it. Thank you. Chief Nichols is part of this too, I think, right? You're a doc, I think. You're dressing up this year, Al?
I can't tell you anything. We have tickets for sale, $5 a ticket. And I'm also selling Krispy Kreme donuts for the PBA to raise funds for the dog.
All right.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you for that. Okay. Move it, please.
Excuse me. Councilmember Tobin.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon.
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 12, approve special event permits for La Familia Latina at SUNY Cortland on April 8th, 2026.
Resolved that the city of Portland County Council does hereby approve the issuance of permits as described below. The event is a march by La Familia Latina, April 8th, 2026, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's going to begin at Core Union, end at Core Union, go down the New Big Service Road to Broadway and back up New Big Road to Core Union.
Okay, a motion, please. Ms. Collins, Ms. Beckwith, any questions? Okay, move it, please.
Councilmember Tobin.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye.
Councilmember Pinello.
Aye.
Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon.
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Agenda item number 13, accept and recognize donations to the Youth Bureau.
Resolved that the city of Portland County Council, on behalf of Mayor Steve and the Youth Bureau, expresses its gratitude for the generosity of the donors below. And be it further resolved that the county council hereby accepts donations listed below and appropriates them to the council for the purposes designated below. A donation from Vita and community members in the amount of $6,477 for Suggit Park improvements to go through the Sharp Trust Fund. Tom and Cheryl Michaels, $500 for summer field trip. Thomas Tire, $100 for Porch Fest. Also for Porch Fest, donation from the Walsh Law Firm for $500 and from Game and Real Estate for $250.
Thank you, Mr. Michael.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome. This is something my wife and I have been doing for a few years now. I was a summer camp participant growing up, so I know how much this means to some of the kids in our youth bureau that don't have the opportunity to do things like that.
Well, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Can I get a motion?
I'll move it.
Mr. Tobin? Ms. Pinello? What's that?
$7,827.
Right,
Yeah,
that's good.
this is an easy one.
Yes, that's a good one. Okay, move it, please.
Councilmember Tobin.
Aye.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Aye, and thank you.
Councilmember Pinello. Councilmember Lane.
Aye.
Councilmember Conlon.
Aye.
Councilmember Carpenter.
Aye.
Councilmember Beckwith.
Aye.
Councilmember Michaels.
Aye.
Randall, do we need executive session? I see that on here. I don't recall that. I wasn't here.
I don't think we.
Okay. Okay. That's what I thought. I didn't.
Nice.
Yeah, good. Right. We may skip that one, right? All right. Anybody else have anything else?
No, I just want to thank everybody for their support on the unit project. I'm sure you guys,
Yeah, it'll be exciting to have it done. It'll be nice to do it. All right, with that said, we'll take a motion for Mr. Conlon as a motion to move it. Ms. Sullivan as a second. All those in favor for adjournment?
Aye.
Adjourn.
Aye.